Hello, welcome back. I thought now that it feels like we're solidly in summer. It feels like summer where I am. My family is going on vacation next week, and I wanted to show you some of the books that I have packed to bring with me to the beach. Now, I thought before I started sharing with you the books that I wanted to bring and my reasoning as to why I'm bringing them, I thought I would just mention I'm bringing a lot of books, and there's a reason for this. I'm not expecting to be able to finish all of these books. That would be great if I could, but I really don't think I'm going to be able to. The purpose for bringing all of these books is so I have a selection, a nice broad amount of books of different kinds to choose from as I'm getting ready to go to the beach, as I'm reading in the nighttime, as I'm sitting on the front porch with my grandmom, who I'm going to be spending a lot of time with. And I thought I would share with you my selections, if you will. So this is sort of like a summer reading list of sorts. I think it would be really great if I could finish all of these books throughout the summer as time goes on. I do have a number of other books kind of in that vein that I want to finish this summer, but I'm not planning on bringing with me when I go to the beach. Let's just get right into it. I have a rather large stack, and this isn't even all of them. So here we go. So the first book that I want to bring, I've already started, and I'll share with you the two I've already started. The first is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I'm a part of a book club with some of my friends. We do it over Zoom, and I got to pick for the month of June, and I picked To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I love Virginia Woolf so much. I was thinking about it. I read Orlando, Mrs. Dalloway, Flush, and A Room of One's Own, and every single book of hers that I read is just absolutely wonderful. So atmospheric, so beautifully and gorgeously written. It's so easy for me to get into. And I haven't read To the Lighthouse yet, and everything that I read about it just makes it sound so amazing. I keep telling myself I want to read it every single summer, and this is finally the summer. I am reading this and I'm making my friends read it along with me. So there is that, and I just feel like this is the perfect beach book, beach read. So there's that. Here's another ambitious one. This is the book I'm reading right now for my Final Boss book club, which is always linked down below. I'm reading a bunch of really big books that I have been meaning to read this year, and for this month I am reading Moby Dick by Herman Melville. As you can see, this is not the bookmark. This is the bookmark. I'm not very far at all. So I'm hoping as I am on the beach, as I have an awful lot more time on my hands, maybe I'll be able to devote a little bit more time to getting through Moby Dick. I am enjoying it. I'm really liking this book so far. It's a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be, which is really interesting. I never thought that Moby Dick would be funny, but it is. So I'm really excited to read this book, and I think my dad is reading it as well, so maybe we can chat about it a little bit as we're together down on the beach. So another book club pick, I am a patron for Books Unbound through their Patreon, and this month they are doing a book club, and they are reading Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. 2 months ago for my friend group book club, my friend Maddie actually picked this, and I got a little bit of the way through, and some of the body horror elements kind of got to me. Listened to the audiobook, which was a little bit of a struggle for me. I kept like pausing it and restarting it, and I think this might be one of those books that I might have a little bit more luck reading physically. So I'm gonna give it a try. If the body horror is just too much for me, I'm a little bit of a wimp, so if it's just too much, I'll put it down again. But I do remember that the writing was really beautiful, so I am gonna give this a try when I'm down at the beach. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I got my copy from the library. I had been on the holds list for so long. This is a really popular book right now, So I am excited to give it a shot, and then if it doesn't work out, I'll just return it back to the library. I'm gonna mention two books at the same time because they are both by Agatha Christie. I'm pretty sure these are both Perrault books. I have Murder in Mesopotamia, and I have Perrault Investigates. This is a collection of short stories, and this is a novel all in its own. I have been on such an Agatha Christie bender recently. If you are subscribed to my Substack, which I will also link down below, I recently did my May in review on my Substack, and you will see I have been on such a roll with Agatha Christie. I have been reading mostly Miss Marple books, and these are both Perrault's. I do think I've discovered I prefer Miss Marple a little bit more, but I still love Perrault. His stories are so much fun, and I was thinking that short stories might be kind of the perfect thing for the beach. You know, little snippets here and there, a nice short story. I thought that those would be fun. I'm definitely bringing both of these with me when I go to the beach. I typically like to bring poetry with me when I go to the beach, just, you know, because again, kind of similar to short stories, they're really easy to read in small sprints, and then I'll just look off into the ocean for a while. So this actually isn't poetry, but it's similar. This is Wool Gathering by Patti Smith, and it's actually a memoir, but as you can see, the book is mostly made up of these short vignettes or small essays. You get the idea. I have had this on my shelves for a really long time too, and it'll be great to read it. It's also really little and easy to shove into a tote bag. So there's that. You can't say that for all of these books on this list. These are all such different books, I'm realizing as I'm going through them book by book. But next, I have a middle grade Piratica by Tanith Lee. Tanith Lee is one of my husband's favorite authors, and a lot of her books enter into themes and territories that I am not very comfortable with. However, when we realized that she wrote this middle grade series, it seemed perfect. I've been in a pirate and a boat book mood, obviously, with Moby Dick, and I saw this on Thrift Books and I knew that this would be perfect to read this summer. And I get to read a book by one of my husband's favorite authors and just give her writing a try. So I am really excited about this book. I don't see people talking about this or Tanith Lee very often. I don't see this book around really. So I'll just read a little bit of the summary to you so you can kind of get a feel of what's going on. Artemisia spent her childhood on a pirate ship, and she's sick of practicing deportment at the Angels Academy for Young Maidens. So she escapes and sets out to find her mother's crew and breezily commands them out to sea. Soon the young captain, now called Art, shapes her men into the cleverest pirate band afloat, and then they meet the dread ship Enemy and her beautiful, treacherous captain, Goldie Girl. The 7 seas aren't large enough for 2 pirate queens. Art will have to wage the battle of her life to win her mother's title, and the race for the greatest treasure in the pirate lore. How much fun does that? That sounds like so much fun, doesn't it? So I think this is the perfect thing to read on the beach, and I'm really excited to give it a shot. So that is definitely coming along with me to the beach. Henry and June by Anais Nin. This is a diary. It is from A Journal of Love, the unexpurgated diary from 1931 to 1932 of Anais Nin. And I'm a little anxious about this. I tried reading Delta of Venus by Anais Nin a couple of months ago, and it was really not for me. But I have heard really great things about her diaries, and I thought this would kind of be an interesting thing to give, just to give it a try, give it a shot. If I don't like it, I can just put it in a little library down at the shore and let somebody else give it a try and try to enjoy it. So I'm excited to give this a shot. And again, similar to poetry and short stories, just reading a journal entry here and there might be the perfect thing for the beach as well. Of all of the books that I'm bringing with me to the beach, I have Lady Caroline Lamb by Antonia Fraser. I have been on a bit of a biography and nonfiction kick this year, which is kind of strange. I've never been a nonfiction reader. I heard the story of Lady Caroline Lamb on a podcast episode, and I can link that podcast episode down below. The thwarted lovers of Lord Byron, one of the greatest poets from the Romantic era, and she is the one who said about him that he was mad, bad, and dangerous to know. And that's kind of all she's known for mostly, but she had such a full life of her own. She wrote her own books. She was such an interesting person in her own right, and just listening to that podcast episode, I knew I needed to read the biography that they mentioned a number of times, and so I got this book, and I have started it. I've been kind of on and off with it. I'm not always in a nonfiction mood, but this has been so much fun, and obviously it's very short, so this is kind of the perfect nonfiction to bring with me to the beach. On to some books that I would like to try to read this summer, but I'm not necessarily bringing with me to the beach, is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I found this book and I've had my eye on Umberto Eco. I haven't tried his books before. I've heard great things about The Name of the Rose. It seems like, I think it's a murder mystery. Everything I've heard about it says that it's a mystery and the main character is a medieval monk. Yeah, the year is 1327. And it sounded really interesting. I like a little bit of historical fiction. I love mysteries, obviously, as I've mentioned before. So I think this will be fun. But like I said, this is probably going to stay home when I go to the beach because that is a brick. I wanted to try to read this in April, and it didn't quite work out, but I want to try to read The Enchanted April. I want to try to read this book this summer. It seems like so much fun, and it seems like the perfect summery vibe. I think this book is about a group of friends or a group of women who stay at a castle together in the French Riviera, I'm pretty sure. So if that doesn't sound like the perfect book to read during the summertime, I don't know what is. So I am really hoping to read that, but again, it's a little thick, so it's staying home. In a previous video I made a month or so ago, I mentioned that I loved Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, and because of that, I got North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is one of her most well-known books. I've never read it before, but because I loved Cranford so much, I want to read more Elizabeth Gaskell this year. I was able to thrift this copy, and I'm excited to get into it. You know, it's not the prettiest cover, but it does have good flap, so there's that. But I am so excited to read a little bit more of her work. I think if I enjoy this book as much as I enjoyed Cranford, she could be a new all-time favorite author. And finally, the last book I wanted to mention is another book that I had featured in a previous video, so I won't talk about it for very long. But I have Clarice Lispector's The Hour of the Star, which I hauled in a previous video, and look how absolutely gorgeous this is. And this is another really short book, so this actually could be a good contender for the beach. But I haven't read any Clarice Lispector before. I've been meaning to, and because I bought this book a couple months ago, I've just been eyeing it on my shelves. I keep thinking about it, and I think it might be the perfect thing to read this summer. I think those are all the books I wanted to mention. Thank you so much for watching this very quick video, but I hope you enjoyed. If you want to comment and let me know some of the books you're most excited about reading this summer, please let me know. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for being here, and I am thinking that I might film a quick little reading vlog while I'm down at the beach, so keep an eye out for that soon, and I will see you next time. Bye!